So season two just wrapped up, and obviously, if you haven't seen the show, please stop watching because it's gonna get into spoilers. But man, what a crazy season! There's just so much to talk about. I knew I had to make a video of my favorite moments after finishing the season because it was just unbelievable. So many characters they brought in from the Clone Wars, and then we got OT characters too. We had prequel references. It was overall just great. Uh, in my opinion, this is the second best Star Wars that we've gotten ever since Revenge of the Sith. All the sequel stuff was pretty much garbage, except Rogue One and Solo. They were pretty cool, but it's just phenomenal. I knew I had to make some of my best moments. So I think one of my favorite moments was in Episode One when we got the first look at Boba Fett's armor in a very long time. We don't know much about that character because everything that was in Legends is not now non-canon. So it was just great to see his armor for the first time in 37 years. It really, for me, it boosted up my anticipation for the show, and it basically confirmed all of the rumors of Boba Fett being in season two. And then coming up next is Baby Yoda and his egg eating addiction. Uh, I just couldn't stop thinking about the fact that he was literally eating the kids of this salamander lady. It was kind of weird. I mean, to be honest, anything Baby Yoda is in is a top 10 moment, but I don't know. It just showed me how weird and diverse this show can get. It's not all about action. You get weird moments like that. So it was basically one of the best things to come out of that episode, in my opinion. And then coming up next is Boba Fett's actual appearance at the end of episode one. It was just great to see him for the first time in a very, very long time. The first time we got to see his face as a Tamora Morrison. Obviously, he's gonna look just like his dad and just like all of the clones because, well, he is a clone. And it was great to see like his face and all the scars he had because I mean we know that he had to somehow fight his way out of the Scarlac pit to survive. But you can tell just by looking at his face that he's been through some stuff. It was also interesting seeing him carrying a gaffy stick, which is a weapon that's mainly used by Tusken Raiders. So who knows? Maybe he was a Tusken Raider at one point. I mean, we don't know. And then another one of my favorite moments was I forgot what episode it was. It was when Mando, Grief, and Cara Dune they were infiltrating a Empire base, and then at one point they ran into some clones in a Bacta tank. I kind of already know what they're referring to. They're probably failed attempts of creating Snoke, but it still brought in a lot of mystery for the show. I enjoyed it. It was kind of spooky in my opinion. And then another moment I really liked uh, was in the last episode when Gideon and Mando fought. It was just cool to see the dark saber, which is of Mandalorian descent, and the Beskar, which is also of Mandalorian descent, going head to head. That was a pretty cool scene. I also think it's super interesting how uh, what's his name? How Gideon knows so much about the Mandalorian culture. It kind of makes you think if he was once a Mandalorian. I mean, he knows everything about the helmet and stuff, and he knows about he loves the dark saber for some reason. I don't know. It just makes you think. And then next is Mayfield's PTSD in the second to last episode. Some people might think this, you know, it's not that great of a moment, but I thought it was pretty cool. It was super great acting. It was a lot of tension. We finally got to see, how being in the Empire affects your psyche after you retire. We had a chance to see that with Finn in the sequels, but they didn't really touch on that. Um, and they also mentioned Operation Cinder, which is more lore, which is just great as a fan to hear. But overall, it was a great scene, and it really showed you how messed up the Empire is, and and how being in the Empire can affect you psychologically afterwards. So it was just cool to see somebody who was ex-Empire have to come to terms of the reality of the Empire being so cruel and disgusting. So that was a really great scene, and honestly, I didn't care too much about the character Mayfield before that episode, but man, after that, it gained all my respect for him. Coming up next is the Ahsoka scene when she's talking about the Force. So there's not any action or anything in this; they're really just talking. But I really liked it because, man, she mentioned a lot of stuff. She There were some Anakin references, there was a Yoda reference, and then whenever she referenced Yoda, his theme came up, so that was pretty cool. She talked a lot about the prequel era, and that's what really got me. Anytime you take me back to the prequels, I'm gonna like it. I believe she said something like, I know I know what this can do to I know what emotions can do to a fully trained Jedi. She was obviously referring to Anakin, so it was just a cool overall scene. It really brought me back some memories. Coming up next is Boba Fett in his actual armor when he goes ham. So this is in, I think, the third to last episode. We finally got to see Boba Fett in action, the real Boba Fett. The first time we got to see him, actually kill people and just start murking stormtroopers in his armor, which is pretty cool. Oh, one funny thing, I didn't know that the little missile things on his knee were actual missiles. Growing up, I always thought they were just like for looks, but no, man, he has freaking missile knees, which is pretty cool. So it was just cool to see the real, Boba Fett in his OG armor, just doing what Boba Fett does, doing what bounty hunters do. Next up, which is my number two favorite moment, is Ahsoka Tano's entrance. Not really much to say here. There's no dialogue. She's just moving around in stealth in the dark, murking down enemies with her white lightsabers. The first time we ever get to see her in live action, which is one of my favorite parts. She is one of the best characters in Star Wars, male and female. So it was just great to see her introduced like that, as a very very stealthy master Jedi. Well, I don't know if she's a master. I think she's a master. Yeah, her intro was phenomenal. And here are some of my honorable mentions that didn't make it on the list, but I also really enjoyed. All right, my number one favorite moment from The Mandalorian. You already know, Luke freaking Skywalker. What is there to say? I loved everything. Every scene that had Luke Skywalker in it was great. The way they introduced him was awesome. Oh, it's just one X-wing. What's that gonna do for us? That's not gonna save us. Oh no, boy! Every Star Wars fan knew who it was. Once Cara Dune was like just one starfighter. No, we knew what it was. But man, just great. Some of his fighting moves reminded me of Anakin too, with that behind the back lightsaber attack. Uh, his introduction was great. He wasn't even like going like all out. He was probably using 40% of his power to take out those dark troopers. But it was just great, dude. Uh, Man, it's great to finally see the real Luke Skywalker, because the Luke in the sequels was just tragic. It was very depressing for me. But seeing Luke from the original trilogy come back, and he's not even that much older, it was great. The CGI was a little off. I'm not gonna lie, it was a little distracting, but I didn't care because it was such a monumental part of the season, or part of Star Wars history, in my opinion. R2D2 was also a good, nice little touch. I theorize that he recognizes Grogu. That's why he got all excited. Uh, because Grogu he got trained in the Jedi Temple, and R2D2 was around at that time. So possibly, it was just great seeing Luke Skywalker. I know lots of fans got emotional about it. You know, I love Luke, but I'm more of an Anakin guy. I didn't cry or anything, but I was in disbelief. I had to pause. I had to pause the episode once I realized they were about to show Luke. I literally had to pause it because I could not believe it. Couldn't believe it. I mean, I know that people were saying Luke was gonna join, but I thought that was too far fetched. I had no idea they were gonna do that. So, hats off to Filoni and Favreau and the whole Star Wars crew. They did a great job. And some people are gonna say, "Oh, it's friend service. It's friend service." I mean, what else are they supposed to do? Because they're supposed to be making content for the fan. So everything they make should be for the fan. So duh, it's fan service. That's what they're supposed to do. I mean, people also said that about Avengers Endgame, that it was just fan service. Well, duh, what do you expect? Fans are the people who are We are the people who are giving them money, who without us they wouldn't even have a job. So yeah, it's fan service. I hope it is. Anyway, that was my favorite scene from the whole season. Uh, I don't know what to expect. I mean, the future for Star Wars on Disney Plus is so bright. I don't know if next season they're gonna, or yeah, if next season is gonna be only about Boba Fett, or if it's gonna have two shows running at the same time. I don't know. I can't really tell you, but all I know is that I'm excited for the future of Star Wars. And as a fan, it finally feels good to get what you want as a fan. The sequels were just so. I don't even want to talk about it because it's so depressing. But it's good to get this as a fan. I think fans all around the world are very satisfied at the moment. But anyway, future for Star Wars is bright, and I'm very, very much looking forward to it.